Hello, my friends. All right, looks like we're going on both Facebook and Instagram. And sorry we missed last week for Thought Shifting Thursdays. I was out exploring with my new daughter, and so we had a great time. And I thought about just stopping and doing it, but we just kind of lost track of time. We're having so much fun. So today we're talking about the power of self-love. It comes up a lot in my coaching practice, and one of the questions I often ask people, especially if I sense that there's an opportunity to raise self-esteem, if that's an important issue for our coaching, and it's important for everyone. But the question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you love yourself? I'll give you a moment to think about that. You can put the number in the chat if you want to. If it's high, maybe you want to. If it's low, you probably don't. Um, Unless you're super authentic and honest. So if the number is below a 10, obviously there's room for improvement. If it's a 5 or less, then it's the most important work one can do. Work, play. I don't believe in work anymore, just play. Um, and so, what are the ways to raise self-esteem? The most important way that I have found is, I'll say it this way, just to give yourself a break, right? People are so judgmental of themselves. And look, the true test of self-love is not loving myself when I just did something really cool and I'm getting lots of praise for it, right? I just went viral on a thought shifting Thursday. Easy to love myself then, right? Um, Easy to love myself when I just get a new love in my life. Easy to love myself when I get a promotion or I just made a deal that, an investment that gained $20,000, right? Um, or $100,000. The true test of self-love is, can I love myself when I just made a mistake that cost me $20,000 or $100,000, depending on your scale? When I just broke up with someone, or I just said something that hurt somebody I care about, um, or I just had a really bad injury. If I can love myself in those moments, that's the true test of self-love. So guess what? Since the only time we can really raise our self-love exponentially is when we are being challenged, then it is the greatest opportunity to increase self-love. So that's the reframe I'm inviting you to look at, is when you screw up, when you make a mistake, when you do something that feels really uncomfortable, rather than beating myself up for it, here's the opportunity to love myself no matter what. That's the phrase that I offer to people, to clients, and anyone that I think can benefit from this understanding is, I love myself no matter what. So as soon as I make the mistake, as soon as I do something that I'm not really proud of, I love myself no matter what. I've said this quote before. It's probably my favorite quote of all time, by Carl Rogers, the founder of humanistic psychology. He said, and I love this phrasing, he said, the curious paradox is, when I accept myself exactly as I am, only then can I change. Only then can I change. So isn't that an interesting paradox, right? Because what drives us, what we think drives us to change, is to want to be something more. And there's nothing wrong with that motivation, but if that's the only motivation, if I'm not accepting myself where I'm at, then, that becoming something more is in the future. And really the only moment that ever matters is this moment. So if I can accept myself and love myself in this moment, then the change comes easily and effortlessly. I don't have to force myself to change. I don't have to try really hard. When I love myself the way I am, the change comes organically. This came up with a client of mine just recently, who was, we weren't focusing on self-love that much. It was more about that particular client just, really wanted accountability for action steps. But what he ended up finding is that the accountability was not enough, right? He would have accountability, he'd stay on track for a week or two, it's a monthly session, and then fall off track. Um, and so we really addressed this, and he came to the understanding that if I don't love myself the way I am, it's just going to keep being a struggle to try to stay on track with the things I want to do to create the life that I want to live. But now that he is focused on self-love as the primary objective, then things are happening easier, staying on track with, with the action steps and the specific, action steps, specific uh, things that he wants to create in his life, whether it be meditation or eating healthy or whatever else, are now on track easily and effortlessly. And so that's how it works. The most important thing, when I love myself at a high level, let's say 8 to 10 out of 10, then everything else in life just lines up with that, resonates with that, vibrates at that frequency. And so whatever it is I want to create, whatever it is I want to do, then becomes easy and effortless. In fact, as a teacher of metaphysics for over 35 years, as a minister, as a life coach, I've studied many, many texts, ancient texts, popular self-help books, New Thought, virtually all of the religions of the world. And all of this stuff is very interesting and helpful and can help open the door to higher self-love. But the thing is, if I have a high level of self-love, and you all know people like this, maybe you're one of them, that haven't studied hardly any metaphysics, right? And yet you live a charmed life. People who lived a charmed life, are living a charmed life, whether they've studied or not, are people who have a high degree of self-love. So that's the secret, my friends, and let's take it into meditation. Let's take a nice deep healing breath. Let out a big heartful sigh. And in this very moment, just take a moment to love yourself unconditionally. And if you have a hard time doing that, here's one exercise I give people. I think I might have done this recently. Think about the pet, your most beloved pet of all times. How much did you love that pet, or do you love that pet? And if you never had a pet, which is unlikely, then just think of the animal that you love the most or you've loved the most. Just feel your love for that animal. And now turn it around. Imagine loving yourself in that same way, that unconditional way. See if you can get an image of yourself. And imagine that you are your highest self now, just projecting unconditional love to your personal self. Love, appreciation, honoring. And now switch places and be your personal self, receiving unconditional love from your highest self, or if you want to raise that even more, from a spiritual being, from God, from Spirit, from Mother Earth, from Father Sky. Just receiving. Take a deep breath as you let it sink in. And now imagine your life moving forward, consistently loving yourself in this way, unconditionally, consistently receiving love from yourself in this way, unconditional love. How does this day look moving forward? This week, the next month. Imagine 5 years from now, having loved yourself consistently. How is your life different? get a feeling that you get it, right? You get the power of this practice. And so, let's have fun with it. Let's play with it this week and beyond. And thank you for joining me on Thought Shifting Thursdays. And we'll see you next week, same time. A little bit late today because we had a little bit of technical problems, but I loved myself in that moment. And you love yourself too. All right, take care, my friends.